thing. Oh, for some reason my Streamlabs didn't want to start this evening, which is always fun. 5 minutes before you go live. So if you give me 1 second while this transitions, and this is going to be nice, some behind the scenes action. Let me get set up quickly. Yeah, for some reason I had everything set up and I don't know what happened, but it wouldn't let me go live. Just keep that like that for just now. Talk among students. Like that. I'll need to be this code. So we should have that. Should be able to just start up now. And that boot up. Where did we get to? We were on React Performance. So I took a bit of a hiatus recently. I was just burning out a little bit. I also have my wedding to organize. Yeah, so I just needed time to collect my thoughts. So it's going to take me a few minutes just to sort of reacclimatize myself to where we're at. I'm almost certain we were here, which is exercise 6. What are we missing? We are missing the browser. And it is my dog. It's Chrome, not the... Is that what the problem is? How bizarre. It's into place. Close enough. And really need to see the tab name, do you? Yeah, it's weird, man. It's weird that Streamlabs just stopped working. Okay, we've got Chrome. Got some music. Is my chat working? There we go. Good time. Oh, that was far too stressful to get started. Yeah. We were on Death by 1,000 Cuts. So I've got a video here. It's only like 3 minutes long and I'm on 1.5 times speed. So it should be like 2 minutes. So I'm just going to watch through this and then get started with the exercise. One thing I need to do though is nice. Oh well, obviously. I'm not sure I will. No, need to fire that one. I'll watch the video. All right, back in 2 minutes. Good times. We just try and remember the shortcuts. There we go. Cool. Seems like a relatively straightforward exercise. It's got 4 extra credits, so there should be plenty of work to sink my teeth into. Is it on 3000? It is. I think we're on here. And then let's just shove them down the bottom. Oh, these are the wrong way around. If we need to see these tools, then I'll just pop it out in a separate window. All right. When you're building a sizable real-world application, you're going to need some sort of state management. Cool. That was basically what was on the video, so I'll skip to the exercise. Product Manager has heard complaints from users that typing in the dog name input is extremely slow, especially on low-end devices when there are lots of elements in the data grid. We've already memoized the grid and cell components, but it's still slow. So there's still too much code running on every keystroke as the user types into the dog name. As it turns out, the state that it's using is only needed by itself, so we can co-locate that state. Straightforward enough, so let's go ahead and take that state out of global context and put it within the component. Cool, so we have global state and we need to co-locate it. Cool, let's work through. Some bombs here. Looks like where we need to be. Okay, so we have the app. Get the force re-render button here. We have a button to force re-rendering. We have the app, we have the input, we have the grid. We have this app provider, which I assume has some context attached to it. So let's see, we have our input component. That input is going to derive state from the use app state hook, which is going to grab the app state context. Value is state. And the state here contains 2 things. It contains the grid and the name of the dog. So whenever this state changes, it causes everything in here to re-render. Unless it's memoized, I suppose. So only the dog name input is using the dog name. We should be able to get rid of this. Update grid cell, we still need update grid, we still need a default use case, but we won't need to update this state because it won't live in this reducer anymore. So this app reducer will be called and there's no need for the dog name here. Use app dispatch type in dog name. Yeah, so I shouldn't need either of these. In fact, I shouldn't need any of this. Let's just do name, set name. Default it to an empty string so it remains controlled. Love it. And then let's tidy up here. So new dog name is the value. Set name to the new dog name. Let's keep as much of it similar to the previous iteration, so we'll change that. Become set dog name. Exactly, just like that. Nice, we're back. Cool. So pretty straightforward so far. Let's go. It's much faster. So one thing I want to do is test that. I'm gonna do this. So let's open this in an isolated page. Let's inspect this, put this up to the right. Get as much of this as possible. Let me just check Streamlabs to make sure you can see that. So I have the grid. Cool. Then I'm going to put this back. Just reset everything. So it should be back to how it previously was. That's a lot slower. And I want to just refresh this. I'm going to record. Okay. There's the layout shift. Guessing. This is when I start typing. Event key press. Wow. Okay. There's a lot going on here. Was that 900? Total time about half a second. Now let's co-locate the state. Let's clear this. Let's record. Yeah, look at that. It's like 5 times faster. It's crazy. Cool. I'll watch the solution videos later, since you guys can't watch it with me. That's the solution, which I don't want just now. Alright, separate context. Let's say that the state in the dog name input does need to be global because it's accessed by many components in the app. So what do we do? Another way to solve this is by separating the state logically into domain-specific context providers. So we can put the state for the dog input and the state for the rest of our app in different providers. And when the dog input updates, the grid doesn't need to update. So for this extra credit, try to make that work. You may find it easier just to undo all your work. Yeah, that makes sense. So let's fire that back. Here we have two. We need two full providers. We probably do, right? So let's say we have a grid provider. Do what we did previously and just convert this into a simple state hook. So we'll set dog name here. State on an empty string. We could do this with a reducer. Or we could just pass the setter. Let's do it. Let's keep it. So this is going to be our grid reducer. This is a bit overkill. I could just pass in this value, I could just pass the name and the setter. Let's keep it. Because then we can control the state updates that can be made to the provider. Whereas if we just pass this through, then they can set it with whatever they want. Okay, a dog reducer. That. Oh, I did not mean to do that. Alright, so we've got that. Pass them an initial state. Sorry, I just completely mind blanked there. Got a dog provider. That's what we're doing. We're going to do two reducers. Wow. My brain just shut down there. So we'll keep dog name. We'll put that as an empty string. I wonder if it's worth actually pushing an object through here if we only need a string value for this. So yeah. This is going to use dog reducer. Change them all to the grid at this point. Let's create a new one for the dog. I need to deal with the grid in the cell here. So, use app state. Split it all out. It's just, yeah, let's do it. Provider, grid reducer. Change this to use grid state. Grid dispatch. It's fine, because this is going to be use dog state. This is going to be use dog dispatch. Fine. That should be fine. This is going to use dog state. Yog state. Use dog state. Use dog dispatch. And then we no longer have an app provider. We have two sets, right? So we have, this is the part that I'm unsure of and why I mind blanked earlier. Because we have these two providers. We have a grid provider and we're now going to have a dog provider. Which should give us everything back. Now, a good test here would be to open this on an isolated window, and let's pop the dev tools. So, the original implementation took about 500 milliseconds. And co-locating the state dropped that to about 70. So, if I record this, do this, and then stop it. Yes. Okay. Let's fix the errors first. Typed in dog input. Doggy dispatch. That is because... Oh, actually, what's that? They should be calling the dispatch from use dog dispatch. Ah, that's fine. Because it's calling from the grid context. Good start. Okay, so let's go to performance. Let me just clear this. Console here, just in case it freaks out. And then we're gonna record. And stop. Looks pretty good. Oh, it's actually got faster. 25 milliseconds, 13 milliseconds. Here's a big one. I don't have this. Yeah, 75 milliseconds. Is that the longest one? That's cool. It was roughly about the same as co-locating. Now, what I want to know is... so... that is a false positive. So I'm going to clear that. I'm actually going to flip these around. So the dog providers first. So now when this context changes, is it going to re-render this entire thing? I don't know. Let's find out. If I do this. Cool. It looks like 40 milliseconds. 58. It did make a difference. I'm glad that happened, but I can't explain why that happened. Let's take a look at React context. Accepts a value. It can be passed. Providers can be nested. All consumers that are descendants of a provider will re-render. That's cool. So because this doesn't consume anything in here, have the correct provider here. So log state is going to return the contact. So in this provider, I'm actually just going to is that with the state object that I get back from this? And I want to use dog state. If I need to do anything with this, let me just clear this, re-render. Maybe I will, just to make sure it's coming in. Seems fine. Of interest, does this now break? Grid provider. Let's go. At least that's working. Why is there no performance hit there though? Now consuming the state. Which, going by this, any consumers are descendants of a provider. So consuming the context here. Application from provider. Consumer is updated even when an ancestor component skips it up. Yeah, I've done this before. Okay, because it will create a new object every time. Okay, make sure not to do that, which I'm not doing just now. Passing a state object into this rather than normal. Hmm. I wonder. Why is that not slow? Okay, I'm gonna have a look into that later, but nothing seems apparent. Assuming multiple contexts. I'm gonna quickly watch the video for that solution. It's like 6 minutes long, so it'll probably take me like 4 minutes to get through it. Just fire the blocker back up. I'll be back in 5 minutes. Let's see if Kent knows the answer. So, a couple of things that I learned from that. One, we can co-locate our stuff here, so there's no need for the grid provider. Actually, I had a brain move when I was watching that video. Instead of this, it's the provider. Let's do it in the actual. Yeah. That should still work. Then record. You need to throttle anything just now. That's 133. How can I see the grid updating? Yeah, just fire up the blocker. Ah, it's because he's in the profiler too. Okay, let's take that off. Here. Profiler. There we go. So let's do that. One letter. Stop. Not quite like this. So I changed it. Dog provider, grid provider, and the memoized grid. And out of interest, if I remove this, clear it. Yeah, just didn't re-render at all. That's cool. So let's grab this. Stick it in a cell. Does that mean all the cells are going to update whenever the stock name updates? So let's clear it. Let's clear this too. And let's do that. Grab this, single character, stop. This function is calling this, but it's not doing anything with it. So what if I want to re-render all the buttons? So add an attribute to each of the cells. This should cause a re-render, right? So I inspect the cell. It's been applied. Let's clear that and go back to the profiler. Start. Single letter. Stop. Why did only one cell re-render then? Cell, 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 cell. Oh. Is it mem? Is. So confused. Why is that not taking ages? It's no longer memoized. Let's try that again. Clear. Card. They all did. Right. So just rememoize the grid. So like there. Cool. So all these cells are re-rendering. So then let me stick the memoization back on. Let's clear that. Let's clear. All these cells re-render. Pause. This is consuming the dog provider state, which is coming from the dog provider. And because that value's changed, any consumers re-render. So if I remove this, that dumb attribute, I now start it. Second character. That's cool. The cells no longer re-render, which is what we would expect. It's not doing anything. However, let's go back. It's my gig provider. Let's just stick that in there. The grid provider parent component re-rendered. Context.provider. So of interest, nothing changes here. It's the only thing that's going to trigger a re-render here is if state of the children updates. That makes sense. Cool. Just had to do a little bit of digging there. I think that makes a lot more sense than what I did when I first started. Let's close this. Separated the contexts. I'm going to limit the work consuming components to. If you open up the profiler and click one of the cells, all of the cells re-render. Just click to get the state up. the re-render was completely unnecessary. What if we made the cell actually accept a cell prop and then put a middleman component in there that does the actual consuming of the state? We could rename the cell component to cell implementation, and then the middleman component called cell. That way, if there's a state update, cell is re-rendered, and it forwards the cell to the cell implementation, which is memoized and therefore only re-rendered when cell changes. Wow. Yeah, that sounds like an incredibly complex code base. I wonder how much time you would need to save for that to be considered beneficial. It's going to be quite hard to follow. That actually looks quite fun to try and implement though. So it is 5 to 9 just now. I'm going to take a 5-minute break, go to the bathroom and get some water. And then I'll be back to tackle this extra credit. Thanks. Right, let's crack on. All right, extra credit 2. Let's do it. Oh man, this feels like it's gonna get really complex, and I really like to keep things simple, so I'm kind of begrudgingly doing this. Alternative solution is to limit the amount of work consuming component. Easier to determine whether a component needs to update. So conceptually, each cell in the example represents a different component. We have each of the components only care about a slice of the state and not all of it. We memoize the cell component. Whenever we have a state update, each consumer needs to re-render, which makes sense. And that's what the React docs were saying. Any consumer of context will re-render whenever the value changes. So what if we made the cell accept a cell prop? Let's fire up the code. Oh, one other thing I was just going to do before I start is we can actually just co-locate these providers. So the grid provider only cares about the grid, and the dog provider only cares about the dog. I'll just tidy that up a little bit. You open up the profiler and click one of the cells, you'll notice that all the cells are re-rendering, but only the one that was clicked gets a state object, which I had the last time. So let's go to profiler. Can I throttle in here? Debugging. Let's go to performance here, and let's go to a 6x slowdown. Do fast. Actually, should need network throttling here. Okay, so let's record this. Click that. Stop. So all the cells are re-rendering. I'm guessing. Cell. Cool. So all of these re-rendered. I'm going to clear that. Record. Tab the first one. Context updated. Okay, well, I know they're all re-rendering. It's just I'm struggling to find the one that actually. I'd imagine it was the one that took the longest amount of time, right? Apparently, it was number 50. This one? Oh, there's obviously multiple 15s. slow. Slow. Each cell in our example represents a different component. So what if the cell actually accepts a cell prop? So we have a grid here. It's an app grid. It's coming from the utils. So we pass the cell component here. I see me throwing in the towel almost immediately into this. This is just not my style at all. An update grid data. We're going to update the grid. Update grid state. A lot of unknowns here. Rename the cell component. Cell input. This is the one actually expose. That way, if there's a state update, this component re-renders. And it forwards the cell to this component, which is memoized. Oh. 6,000 errors. Cool. Wow, that did not like that. Forwards the cell. Cell changes. Ah, yeah, that's just completely bugged. It was actually fine when I had it like this one. Back to this. Just restart that. I really wasn't happy with me changing these. Oh man, what did I do? That seems to be running. Just gonna close Chrome. Somehow managed to break everything. Oh, what the hell have I done? Thing in the console. Good start. Sets. Let's look at the original file now. Traffic. Not so much on my personal site one. So I originally started just while this is completely busted, I might as well follow this chat up. I was originally approached by Get Connected. It was cool. So I was like publishing on there, and there was a decent bit of traffic on here. Yeah, there we go. So there was a decent bit of traffic through here, and then recently I started writing for LogRocket, and this had way more traffic. I've noticed a lot more people interacting since I've started writing for these guys. So I normally just post things on my personal site just for like a collection of articles, and it's just easier to reference that. And as long as I put a canonical link back to LogRocket, they seem quite happy with that. So if I'm here, I just go into here. If we actually inspect, just go into the head. Yeah, there we go. So I'm linking back to the original and treating this as like the source article, which is a little bit back to front because you would imagine your personal site would have it. But I mean, it's just contract terms. But it's cool. It's cool that people engage with it on those platforms, but it's also nice to reference it. I'm still coming across some of the problems that I've encountered here. And it's nice just to be able to refresh my memory with an article on it. I really need to write a new one. I planned on writing at least 4 a year, and we're in July, and I've yet to write one. Well, maybe I'll crunch 4 out at Christmas. Did that answer your question? Nice. Congrats on the 400. Is that 400 subscribers? It's a great start, man. Well done. Yeah, blogs are cool. I kind of selfishly write it for myself. I normally write it after I've encountered an interesting problem, normally at work. And then at the end of it, I kind of go through the learnings from start to finish, because you obviously have a clearer idea by the end of the problem, and then try and summarize that into like an article. And if I can help someone else along the way, then it's always a benefit. Why is this not working? Completely reset this. I changed here. Yes, you very quickly realize if you don't understand something when you go to write down how to actually achieve it. Maybe I will write one when I finally realize what I'm doing wrong. This is all back in its default state. We have a single app provider. Just completely trashed the dev tools. Cleared my history. Restarted the app. I've restarted the browser. I'm loading. Yes, it was previously. So I was messing around. Was I? Oh, I can't even look at the exercise because it's borked. I was basically doing this slice of app state where I was going to create a middleman component to prevent the cells from re-rendering. And that caused an infinite loop and blew up my application. My whole PC froze for like 3-4 seconds and now it's come back. How can I kill all processes? What I would normally do here is restart my machine, but that'll kill my stream. I'd have thought if I just trashed the terminal, that would kill the process. Let's close this. Start coding as well. It's a fresh terminal. So bizarre. No, let's not do that. Man, my browser is just not happy. It's not working in incognito. I've blitzed my history. Successfully. Do I have any other browsers? Try good old Edge. There's no instances of Chrome running. Technology. Yeah, it's not working on the browsers. I am just gonna have to leave this here because other than a full machine restart, I don't see how I'm gonna fix this. I've restarted all the applications and nothing's working. I've reset all of this back to its default state. So I guess I'll just leave it here, which is about 30 minutes early, which is a shame. But I'll be back on Thursday, and hopefully I'll have got it back up and running by then. But yeah, sorry about that. And good to speak to you, IM chat. And I will see you again on Thursday. See you guys.